Welcome to the Power of Offense with Keith and Rodney, and I'm your host, Big Keith. In this video, which is the fourth video of an ongoing series that I shall complete in reference to marriage, I will discuss why you should consider getting a prenup. Now, in previous videos, we discussed how prenups can be breached or how you can defeat a prenup. We've also talked about the definition of marriage, what marriage is. And in my opinion, I think that we do need more marriages in the Black community. Now, this has been a topic of discussion over the past year in the Black manosphere, of which I really wish I was able to participate in that conversation. But here I am today, with this quarantine and everything that's going on in today's society. It just provided the perfect opportunity for me to interject some fresh and new information into the conversation. Now, in my opinion, do we need more marriages? I would say hell yeah, especially knowing that we have a 70% out of wedlock birth rate in the Black community, and only 30% of our children are being born within a household with both parents, a father and a mother. Now, I believe that things will be best when things are at least even. We should have at least 50% marriages and 50% other. Now, I'm no one to judge any man's lifestyle. I understand that some men, right, just like women, are not meant to be married, and that's fine, right? But I don't believe 70% of them that are having children are not meant to be married, So I definitely think that's something that we definitely have to fix within our community. And one of the ways to do this, I think, is to understand the purpose of marriage, which I discussed in the last video, which is to preserve morality, right? As well as to progress civilization. Now, this is what the Supreme Court has said, and this has been found in the English common law, which American jurisprudence is predicated upon. The sanction of marriage predates even government. So I think it's hugely important for us to continue to progress in our communities, as well as for us to uplift morality, that we have more marriages. All right. So I just want to say that. Now, in the process of having these marriages, it does make sense to have a prenup. This is one thing that I preach to my son. Now, my son is only 19 years old, right? There's no expectation for him to get married no time soon. Matter of fact, I don't expect for him to even consider the possibility of getting married until he's at least 30 years old. I think that's a good age for most men. They give you an opportunity to establish your career. It gives you a great opportunity to do many things that you're trying to do, pump and dump, if you plan on doing that before marriage, etc., get it all out the way. And then when, you find a suitable mate, you settle down. And in the process of that, you should definitely have a prenup to protect your assets as well as hers. Now, on the screen, I have an article from Northwestern Mutual, and they stated 5 reasons why you should consider a prenup. It says, if you are about to get married, there's a whole host of things you have to do, from getting a marriage license to choosing a color palette, to picking the song for your first dance. Here's something to add to the list: working with a lawyer to draft a prenuptial agreement. Now, I agree with that sentence because most individuals need an attorney, right? And I'm pretty sure most of you all that are listening to this video, you probably need an attorney. Now, the mission of the Power of Offense is to show you that you being a layman, or you being an everyday brother or sister, right? You can learn the language of law, legalese. You can learn how to read law, and you can also learn how to read the interpretations of law which comes from the court. These are all the things that we cover and that we teach here at the Power of Offense. You know, so for Rodney and I, we don't need an attorney to write the prenuptial agreement for us. We can draft our own prenuptial agreement, right? Which falls within the laws of the state of which we choose to get married in. Now the goal is for you, the listener, to develop the same skills that Rodney and I have. And this is what we hope that you pick up from the videos that we do, you know. And I say for myself, outside of the entertainment videos that I do, because some of the videos that I do is just strictly really entertainment, just giving my opinion about stuff. It doesn't have any type of teaching to it. But I hope this is what you get out of what we do. You know, you can learn how to write your own agreement. Now, if you're someone that is skilled in this and you understand contracts, right, like Rodney and I do, then you may be able to draft your own and hire an attorney just to read over it for you, just to, you know, to make sure all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted. That could be a good idea, right? Now, I must say that we advocate here the Power of Offense that you learn the law for yourself so that you can keep everyone honest. See, I don't have any issues working with an attorney now if I chose to, because I know how to keep an attorney honest with me. You see what I'm saying? I know how to hold his ass, right, to what the law is saying, because I understand the law. There's many things that you will learn by listening to us here at the Power of Offense. But anywho, let's get back to this article. Now, right here, it says, talking about what will happen financially if your marriage ends isn't romantic, but money is one of the leading causes of stress in relationships, and this is a way to ease that stress. Here are some reasons to get a prenup that you might not have considered. The first reason is they're not just for the rich. People who come from family money might be more comfortable with this topic, but the truth is that prenups don't just protect people with sizable assets. They can also outline what happens to future assets and even help protect you from your partner's debts. And this is what an attorney is saying. Raymond Heckmat, a family law attorney in Beverly Hills, California. You hear that? Now, I think that's important to know, that a prenup, right, can outline future assets and even help protect you from your partner's debts. So you can be married and your partner's debts will not affect you. Now, it goes on and says people who are self-employed, those who have stock options that might be viable in the future, and those marrying into debt can all benefit from a prenup. Number 2, a prenup overrides most states' divorce laws. Now that's huge. That is extremely huge, because in the next video, I'm going to cover, you know what? I cover it in this video. That is huge. As a matter of fact, I'm going to cover it right now. Now, they said that a prenup can override most state divorce laws. Hale versus Hinkle from 1906. And I'm going to scroll down. I'm not going to read this entire case, but I want to point out a statement that is made by the court dealing with your right to contract. And I have it highlighted. Let me scroll to it real quick. I thought I had it highlighted. I guess not. Well, let me search it real quick. And here we go. I'm gonna highlight this. It says the individual may stand upon his constitutional rights as a citizen. He is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract is unlimited. Now, the fact that you have the right to contract unlimited, right, is why you have this article that's saying that a prenup in many cases overrides state divorce laws. Now, it goes on and it says no matter what their financial circumstances, a prenup allows a couple to take their financial future into their own hands rather than having it dictated by the state laws. End quote. People are starting to understand that they have the power to draft the laws overseeing their marriage. Hackmat says, whether you like it or not, when you get married, you are agreeing to a prenup. The laws of the state in which you live, which will govern your marriage and your divorce. A prenuptial agreement is the rare opportunity to come up with your own unique laws for your own unique marriage without giving in to the cookie cutter laws that may not apply to you and your partner. Now that's huge. Now basically what attorney Heckmat is saying is exactly what Hale versus Hinkle says, that you have the right to contract unlimited. Now it goes on and it says a prenup can also help avoid the cost of litigating a divorce, since the end terms of a marriage have already been laid out at a more harmonious time. Now to me that makes hellified sense, you know. Now reason number 3, it says you think of them as insurance. Christopher S. Hildebrand, an attorney in Scottsdale, Arizona, tells his clients to think of prenuptial agreements as an insurance policy. In quotes, you hope you never have to use it, but you sure are happy if you ever needed it. And this is basically what he says. Like when you're choosing insurance, you'll want to consider the worst case scenario. Partners talk about which assets will be joined and which will remain separate. If income and debts earned during the marriage will be considered joint or individual, and whether alimony will be paid in the event of a divorce. Now, it also says right here in quotes, I'm going to highlight this because it may be difficult to see. It says a prenuptial agreement is the rare opportunity to come up with your own unique laws for your own unique marriage. So if you are going to get married, right, it only makes sense for you to contract unlimited, you and your future spouse, right? So get a prenup. Now it goes on and it says, also consider how your financial situation might change over time. Partners should consider their respective ages and their ability to support themselves at different intervals of the marriage. And this is what Hildebrand advises. Now that's some good advice. You know what I mean? That's matter of fact, some great advice. Now, reason number 4. It says the conversation doesn't have to be negative. Most people fumble when thinking about how to talk about them. After all, how can you be planning for a life with someone but also making a contingency plan for if it doesn't work? The key, says Mela Garber, a tax professional who works with Family Wealth, is to not take the conversation personally. In quotes, removing the personal piece of it is important, she says. Instead, think of it as standard business and good financial practice to have the agreement. Oftentimes, it's more comfortable to bring up the idea of a prenup early on before an engagement is even official. That gives both parties time to think about what they would like to cover and if they're comfortable with the process. Now this make it a part of the overall financial plan. Or she's saying basically to make it a part of your overall financial plan. And it makes sense. I agree with everything she's saying 100%. Now the last reason is it says that you can set a solid financial framework. Now, arguments over money often boil down to not being on the same page when it comes to finances. Couples who sign a prenup are forced to discuss this well ahead of marriage. By laying everything out on the table early on, you're less likely to be surprised later. That's so true. These couples have the ability to create specific provisions to govern their marriage, which will create a stronger foundation for a happier and more successful marriage. Hekmat says, the stigma against prenuptial agreements is starting to pass. People are becoming more conscious of their finances as well as their marriages as a whole, and partners are looking to take a proactive role in creating successful partnerships. And then they say take the next step, get started. And I agree with them. If you do plan on getting married, you should definitely get a prenup. It only makes sense for you and your future spouse to take control over your life and your situation. All right. So I wanted to make that clear. You know what I mean? You also want to make sure if you're in one of those states that you must have an attorney in order to draft a prenup, that you do that. You always want to make sure that you know what is going on. You want to be proactive. So again, thank you for listening. Please drop a comment below. Peace.